Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be what the narcissist won't understand. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So the narcissists, they continue to go through life like a bull in a china shop. They continue to destroy people's hopes, dreams, aspirations, relationships, bank accounts, health, hobbies, and more. And what they don't and won't understand, and I'm referring to the narcissist, is that people are waking up to their behavior more and more each and every day on this planet. You see, years ago, before the internet was created or before the smartphone was created, we didn't have the wisdom at our fingertips. We didn't understand what was going on. We were parts of families, parts of romantic relationships, parts of organizations or communities surrounded or swarmed with narcissism. Now again, is everybody on the planet a narcissist? Absolutely not. But back then we didn't have the wisdom. We didn't know what the signs were. Back then we didn't know what gaslighting was. We didn't know what triangulation was. We didn't know what the smear campaign was. Let's take the smear campaign for a moment. We thought that that was just a person telling a lie or a fib about you. Well, truth be told, that's what it is. But when you're a kid, a lie or a fib can do damage. But when you're an adult, it can destroy your life. Having said those things, these are all the realizations that the narcissist won't understand. They don't get it that people are figuring them out. They don't get it that people are becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered. They don't understand that as time marches on, as the collective conscious gets smarter and smarter and more in tune with not only their emotions, their feelings and their experiences, but with what narcissism is, that people don't want anything to do with the toxicity any longer. Again, back then, before the internet or the smartphone, we didn't know what we know now. We got our information from word of mouth or from books that were written decades ago or hundreds of years ago or from encyclopedias. Now we have all of this wisdom, all this education at our fingertips, and we can get the wisdom whenever we want it. No, it's not only about narcissism, it's about humanity, it's about empathy, it's about emotions, it's about emotional intelligence. It's about what control is. It's about your energy, how you spend it, what you do with your time, with your money, with your mindset. These are all things that the narcissist figured out way before you did, because the narcissist had an unfair, insurmountable advantage over you before you got the wisdom. Now, I've said that for years in videos, and it's true, because remember, the narcissist did not walk up to you and hand you a 2 or 3 page report telling you who they were, what they had done with other people, how their childhood was legitimately, how they had blown up every romantic relationship in their life, and how they would do that with you. They didn't do that. They infiltrated your life. They crept into it insidiously, and they learned all about you and your hopes and your dreams and aspirations and your mindset, and if you had a high level of empathy and how many zeros you had in your bank account, and if you had a 401k and how many beach homes you owned and what kind of cars you like to drive and what your favorite dish was, your favorite cologne or perfume, and if you were close with your siblings, if you were close with your parents, and if you owned the company or if you were going to inherit a large sum of money in the future. They learned all about these things. And you, because you weren't taught this in school, you were an open book. You were feeding them information. You were giving to a fault. You probably were a people pleaser. One thing I can assure you is you were vulnerable, you were naive, and you were uneducated on narcissism. And the narcissists knew that because they had multiple people on the hook at the same time they were grooming you and tethering you to them. Think about the beginning of the relationship again. They probably love bombed you, and you probably were texting them at all hours of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. What started off as probably a 10-minute phone call may have turned into 3 or 4 hours. And those 3 or 4 hours one night turned into 3 or 4 hours the next night, and then 4 or 5 hours the next night. And then the next night it was 2 or 3. And then you became accustomed to communicating with them, let's say after dinner, for weeks on end. Well, what were you doing? Back then, I can assure you, you were doing more talking than listening, because the narcissist was gladly listening to every little nugget of information you were sharing with them, every little nuance, the way you used your words, the way you paused, the inflections, how excited you got, what you wanted to talk about and what you didn't want to talk about, and what they were doing back then where they were grooming you on the phone. is they were probing, seeing how much you would share with them. Again, you were an open book. You didn't know what you know now, but they were doing their reconnaissance all about you. They were studying you, figuring out which buttons to press and how to get you to do what they wanted you to do. As they were learning more and more about you, you were falling more and more into the web of manipulation, into the trap of abuse, into the cesspool of toxicity. You didn't know it because you thought this relationship was unlike any other relationship, and it was going to go so far, and it was going to be an amazing relationship, and the two of you were on such a same page, and he or she was the yin to your yang and your soulmate, and they completed you and all these things. Well, this is the narcissist feeding you a bill of goods. Many times, the narcissist will say to their targets, I dreamt about you last night, or I dreamt about you years ago, and you're the one. I've been waiting for you. It was meant to be. It was in the stars. It was in the alignment of the stars. I couldn't wait to find you. And they will plant that seed on you, and you, because perhaps you are a spiritual person or a deep thinker, or maybe you are into astrology or all these things, you're like, oh my gosh, this is real. I've been waiting for this too. But what you didn't know is they were planting a seed. They were seeing how far you would take that seed and how much of that forbidden fruit you would bite into. They knew what they were doing because it worked with other people before it worked with you. That's why the narcissist uses dreams, they use horoscopes, they use premonitions, they use religious beliefs, even though they're not their beliefs. They use any kind of smoke and mirror they can to get people lured into that web of manipulation. And as you were falling deeper and deeper into it, they were licking their chops saying, yes, this one, it only took me 5 months to get them to have me move in with them. It only took me 6 months for me to get my name on the mortgage or the deed. It only took me 8 months for them to buy me a new car. It only took me 10 months for me to sit on the couch all day eating Cheetos and Doritos, playing Xbox on one of my 3 smartphones while this person, which was you, was going to work for 15 hours a day. And it only took me a year before I could actually take the mask off, crash it to the ground like a parasite that I am, and I'm not the narcissist, I'm acting like I am. And then I would blame this person who turned out to be you for being yourself, saying, you're not successful, where's all the money gone? I can't believe you're not bringing home enough money. Let me see your phone, are you cheating on me? I can't believe that you're staying at work so long. You can't win any way you cut it in these relationships. You can't win with the narcissist, but back then you didn't know it. This is when the narcissist placed you in the trauma bond, the most life-threatening, challenging, debilitating, taxing, challenging part of your existence, because this was when you were in a fight for your life, because you didn't know how you got there. What you did know is the person who claimed that they loved you or professed to love you or professed that you could grow old together or go into business or whatever you did, this is when they switched everything on you. They began to pull back. They showed you who they were. And when you were in the trauma bond, you were helpless, you were flailing. You were an unpaid helper, you were a walking apology, you were a sounding board, an ATM, and so much more. That's not even counting a cook, a cleaner, the chauffeur, if I didn't say that. But when you're in this relationship, again, the narcissist was toying with you like a cat with a mouse, and they were pushing you more and more and more, and you were experiencing more and more micro discards. And then every once in a while, you'd experience a bigger discard. Not the apex discard, not the ultimate discard, but you're experiencing more and more cuts of the knife that the narcissist was slicing into, because again, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts when you're in these relationships. But again, you didn't know what you know now. Now, having said all these things, what the narcissist will never know, what they don't know, and what they'll never figure out, is that people are understanding so much about their behaviors. They all use the same playbook. They all gaslight people. They all financially abuse people. They all hang up on people. They all have selective hearing. They all pop up at instrumental periods of your life, like a holiday or a birthday or a death in the family, or when you got ill, or when you lost your job. And this is what they all do. And you may say, how do they all know the same thing? Well, you tell me. They all use the exact same mannerisms, because these people are boring, they're dull, they're shallow, they're hollow, there's no substance to them, there's no core to them, and they know it. And now you know it, and now they know that you know. You see, the collective conscious, as I mentioned earlier, we're getting more and more in tune with our vibration, not the low vibrational quagmire state where we were stuck in for a period of time, which is where the narcissist wanted us. I'm talking about the higher vibrational state, when you reach that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, or when you're just beginning to heal and you're not in the low vibrational state. However you cut it, when you're out of these relationships, you need to heal, because this is the relationship you need to heal from. And when you block the narcissist, then you begin to see things more clear in your mind, and you begin to realize it wasn't just you, and it wasn't just the narcissist. There were so many other people who were taking advantage of you throughout your whole life. Maybe teachers, maybe your parents, maybe your neighbors, maybe your other romantic relationships, maybe your besties, maybe the person you went into business with, maybe the person who was your next door neighbor. Who knows who these people were? And again, no, not everyone's the narcissist. That's not what I'm saying, not even close. I'm saying that the one person, the apex predator, the behemoth, the juggernaut, tried to take you out for the count, but they failed, and they failed miserably because you're here. And what they don't realize, and what they will never know, is that A, you've put yourself back together. B, you are stronger than you know. C, you knocked out something you didn't even know that you were in, which was a toxic, debilitating, narcissistic relationship. And D or E, whatever letter I'm on, you're a different person. And they can't accept that. They can't wrap their tiny little pea brain how you, yes, you could put yourself back together against all odds when they thought they finished you off, when they discarded you at your lowest point, when they took all of your relationships, all of your money, all of your hope, all of your beliefs, all of your job, everything about you. They took it all and more. And then they crumbled you up like a sheet of paper and threw you away in the freeway. They did not think you would exist. They thought that they snuffed you out. They thought that you would never, ever rise through the ashes like a phoenix and put yourself back together. But you've done it, or you're doing it. I did it. If I did it, you can do it. And believe me when I tell you, it was a very challenging experience for me, to say the least, but I did it. And that's why I pay it forward each and every day with one-on-one sessions and creating videos. This is what I do. It's my moonshot. It's my calling. It's my path. Did I know years ago that I will go through the narcissistic abusive cycle? Absolutely not. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what narcissism was until about 3.5 weeks after I was discarded. Then I dropped down on the ground in my bedroom and I wailed uncontrollably for hours because I was in disbelief that A, I didn't know about it, but B, how could this happen? And C, how come I wasn't wise enough to figure it out when it was happening? Well, all the above. I was vulnerable. I was naive. I was believing in something. I was thinking that someone could complete me. I was thinking that I could improve other people's lives, and I did the best I could. And once my resources ran out, my health took a hit, my bank account was at zero, and the smear campaign was well underway, that's when the discard happened 2 days before what was my favorite holiday. But most of you know that story now, and your story is probably similar. But this is what the narcissists won't understand. They won't understand that we're understanding what they do. They won't understand that we are seeing their behaviors, not the person you're considering, but other narcissists in airplanes, at restaurants, in traffic, in movie theaters, if you still go to movie theaters, in seminars, at work, everywhere. We're seeing these behaviors, and we are choosing to not participate. We are not fueling the fans of abuse. We are not calling them out. We're not using the narcissist word. What we're doing is we're saying, yep, I've seen that before. I lived that for 7 years. I want nothing to do with that. We're keeping a small footprint. We're keeping our information to ourselves, and we are walking the other way. You see, this is what the narcissist can't stand. What they can't stand is to be irrelevant. What they can't stand is to have their smartphone's battery run out. What they can't stand is to have people heal. What they can't stand is have people see behind the mask and go no contact and block them. What they can't stand or can't fathom even for 1 minute is how you, yes, you, put yourself back together against all odds, because they thought they were smarter than you, stronger than you, and they thought that they finished you off, but they didn't, because you're here. Just like me, you're here. Unlike all the other people who were in the narcissistic relationship before you, you're different. You're cut from a different cloth. You are stronger than you know. You're resilient. You found the needle in a haystack, and you're healing, or you've healed. And so this is what the narcissists won't understand. What they won't understand is how you put yourself back together, how they mean nothing to you because they do mean nothing to you, how you figured it out, and how you healed, and how you actually maintained your boundaries. That's what I've done, and that's what you've done, or that's what you're doing. Eventually, before I close the video, you will get to a point where you will no longer care about the narcissist or anybody from that period of time who's still communicating with them, or who was supporting the smear campaign, or who wasn't there in your corner. And that's a very long list of people. But eventually, when you get there, you will say, yep, this person, these people, it took an army of people to take me down, but they all failed. They couldn't do it. They thought they did it. They thought that they could grab their popcorn, sit back and watch my life implode, and it would work because it worked in the past. But I'm different, and I beat them. And now, not only did I beat them and beat the narcissist, but I don't care about them, because now I've reached that mountaintop of indifference. Now I am doing what I want, when I want, and with whom I want. This is when I can take a class, teach a class, read a book, write a book, travel the world, fall in love again. I can do whatever I want to do, because I've been someplace where most people will never be. I beat something that most people don't even understand exists, and I'm out and I've healed. And that's something else. Most people don't have to heal from emotional wounds or mental wounds. You may say, well, a lot of people do. Yeah, they do, but do they actually do the work? You tell me. When you're out of the narcissistic abusive cycle, this is a battle for your life, for your mindset, for your future, for your day, and for the direction of your life. That's why this is unlike anything you've ever been a part of, and that's why this is the relationship you need to heal from. And that's why the narcissistic abusive web, the cycle, if you will, the patterns, the behaviors, the mannerisms, all the abuse, that's why it is a perfect recipe to extinguish people from the planet, because that's what these people do, whether you know it or not. Tough pill to swallow, but it's real. And I was almost one of those people January 6, 2021, but I made it, and you've made it too. So you need to believe in yourself the way I believe in you. You need to block that person just like I did. You need to go no contact. You need to heal and heal properly. And you need to understand that narcissists will never give you closure. They will never listen to a word you say. They will never ever admit who they are or what they did. They will blame anybody under the sun. They will always need an audience. They will always need enablers, flying monkeys, and people that support their false narrative. And again, at one point, you were in the center of all of that toxicity, all that abuse. You didn't even know that you were there, but now you're out and you're healing. So what the narcissist will never understand is that they are a failure, a huge failure in life. And there's a big price to pay for doing what they did to you and to so many other people. And it won't come at the hands of a human being. It will come at the hands of a power much greater than a human being. And no, I do not wish ill will upon anybody. I never have, and I'm not going to start now. But the narcissist will get what's coming to them. Believe me when I tell you. And it's not just every night when they put their head on the pillow and they have to let all the demons and the ghosts and the ghouls run amok in their tiny little brain. No, this will go on forever and ever and ever until they're not on the planet. And even then, in the afterlife, wherever they go, whatever they do, there will be a big price to pay. Believe me when I tell you. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is a new location. There was a plane that flew over, unexpected. I'm doing the best I can. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I love creating them. I love paying it forward, and I love helping people heal and people's lives be changed from the videos, from the one-on-one sessions, from the wisdom, from the flowers that I post every day in the community section, from all of the shorts I create, and from all the ripple effects of all the work I've put into myself and into the planet, and all the work that you've put into yourself in supporting the community. We, the collective, are getting stronger. We, the collective, are getting a bigger voice, a louder voice. And when I say louder, I'm not saying the loudest voice in the room. I'm saying we are becoming awakened and aware. And this is a newfound superpower. Once you come through the cycle and you rise through the ashes like a phoenix, this is a superpower on steroids. And remember, with great superpower comes great responsibility. This is your superpower. It is your responsibility. I love you all. God bless you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.